The soft hum of jazz filled the air as the waiter poured another glass of Merlot into my wife's glass. Olivia sat across from me, perfectly composed, her emerald green dress hugging her figure in a way that once made my heart race. Tonight, though, there was a strange tension in her smile. It didn't reach her eyes. I should have known something was off when she insisted we dine at La Vigna, the upscale Italian restaurant where we celebrated our anniversaries. The place had dim lighting, rich mahogany tables, and waiters who spoke with charming Italian accents. Romantic, nostalgic, and, as I'd come to realize, strategically chosen. I leaned back in my chair, watching her closely. She'd been oddly quiet throughout the appetizers, barely touching her bruschetta, while her eyes darted around the room. "Everything okay, Liv?" I finally asked, swirling my wine. She hesitated, setting down her glass. "Ethan," she said, voice calm but deliberate, "I think it's time we stopped pretending." I blinked, feigning ignorance. Pretending about what? Her lips pressed together. About us. This marriage. It's not working. I've found someone else, and I'm leaving you. There it was. The truth, served cold, like the untouched shrimp cocktail between us. I didn't flinch. I didn't yell. I just smiled. That reaction must have thrown her off because her confident expression faltered. She leaned forward, brows furrowing. "Ethan? Did you hear what I said?" "I heard you, Liv," I replied smoothly, setting down my glass. "You're leaving me. For someone else." I paused, watching her squirm. "So, when's he supposed to walk in?" Her face blanched. "W." I nodded toward the entrance, where the maitre d' stood, greeting guests. "You picked this place for a reason. You wanted to humiliate me publicly, didn't you? Let me guess, he's supposed to show up any minute now, sweep you off your feet while I sit here like a fool." She blinked rapidly, struggling for words. I'd hit the mark. Olivia had always been meticulous, a strategist in both her career and personal life. But she forgot one thing. I'd stopped being blind to her games long ago. And as if on cue, the front doors swung open. Her face lit up for a moment, expecting her lover. But it wasn't him. It was someone much worse. A tall man in a sharp navy suit walked in, flanked by two others. Olivia's face drained of color as recognition hit her like a freight train. It was Mark Davidson, her boss, the CEO of the very company she worked for. His gaze locked on her instantly, cold and calculating, like a predator who had just spotted wounded prey. "Ethan," Olivia stammered, voice cracking. "What did you do?" I leaned back, sipping my wine leisurely. "Me? Nothing. Just had a little chat with Mark this morning. Turns out he was unaware that his chief marketing officer was having an affair with the head of a competing firm. Corporate espionage, they call it." Her mouth opened and closed, like a fish out of water. "Why, you're lying." Mark reached our table, lips pressed into a thin line. "Olivia, pack up your desk first thing tomorrow. HR will contact you about the exit process." She shot up from her seat, knocking over her glass. "Mark, please, it's not what it looks like. Ethan's trying to ruin me." Mark's expression didn't waver. "It's exactly what it looks like. The emails you sent from the company server weren't just love letters. They contained proprietary information. Legal will be in touch." I watched, calm and collected, as Olivia's carefully constructed world began to crumble. She turned to me, fury and desperation flashing in her eyes. "You set me up." I shrugged. "You set the stage, Liv. I just rewrote the script." She stood there, breathing heavily, caught between pleading and lashing out. Finally, she grabbed her purse, tears welling up. Without another word, she stormed toward the exit, heels clicking furiously against the marble floor. Mark gave me a curt nod. "You're a patient man, Ethan. Good luck." As I watched her vanish into the night, the waiter approached, oblivious to the emotional battlefield he was stepping into. "Dessert, sir?" I chuckled, wiping my mouth with the linen napkin. "No, thanks. I've had my fill. Let me know if you'd like me to continue with the next section." I sat there for a moment, the echo of Olivia's heels fading as the restaurant settled back into its usual murmur. The weight that had pressed on my chest for months maybe even years, lifted, leaving behind a strange emptiness. Not sadness. Not relief. Just clarity. Mark gave me one last nod before walking away, his two assistants trailing behind like silent shadows. The maitre d', ever the professional, approached with a polite smile, pretending not to have witnessed the spectacle. "Shall I bring the check, sir?" I glanced at the untouched entree Olivia had ordered, a filet mignon, medium rare, with roasted garlic butter. Her favorite. It sat there like a relic of a life that had just shattered. "Actually," I said, sliding my chair back, "charge it to her card." She insisted on treating tonight. The maitre d's smile didn't falter, but I caught the flicker of amusement in his eyes. He nodded and glided away. As I stepped outside, the cool evening air hit my face, refreshing and sharp. Olivia was nowhere in sight, but I hadn't expected her to linger. She'd run, tail between her legs, likely to the very man who had promised her an escape from our boring marriage.
Poor guy.
He didn't know the half of it. I pulled out my phone and dialed a number I'd memorized by heart. "Hey, Claire," I said when the line clicked. "It's done." She played her hand, and it fell apart exactly how we expected. A soft laugh. "Told you she was predictable. Are you okay?" I smiled faintly. Claire had been my closest confidant through all this, the one person who saw the cracks in my marriage long before I did.
"Yeah,
"I'm fine. Just glad it's over."
good.
"Come by the office tomorrow. There's something you'll want to see." "Something else?" "You'll understand when you get here," she said cryptically before hanging up. I pocketed my phone and started walking toward my car. The city lights flickered like scattered diamonds along the street, and for the first time in a long while, I noticed them. It's funny how betrayal sharpens the senses. The next morning, I arrived at the office earlier than usual. Claire was already there, sipping coffee and scrolling through her laptop. She waved me over with a knowing smile. "Check this out," she said, spinning the screen toward me. It was an email thread between Olivia and her lover, Jason. The subject line read, *final steps. Ethan won't know what hit him. *. My stomach tightened, though not with anger. Just confirmation. I'd suspected the affair for months, but this was proof of intent. "Look at the dates," Claire pointed out. I leaned in, eyes narrowing. The emails dated back nearly a year, right around the time Olivia started complaining about my long hours, my lack of excitement, my stale ambition, as she put it. "You were never the problem," Claire said softly. She just needed a scapegoat while she built her exit plan. I exhaled slowly. "What's the final step they mentioned?" Claire clicked on an attachment. It was a draft prenup nullification Olivia had planned to present, claiming emotional distress and an irreparable breakdown of trust. My trust, shattered by her betrayal, was apparently her golden ticket. She really thought she could blindside me, I muttered, shaking my head. "Greed makes people sloppy," Claire said, folding her arms. "What do you want to do with this?" I leaned back, considering my options. Part of me wanted to forward everything to Mark, ensuring Olivia's career ended not just with termination, but with disgrace. But another part of me, the part that had already won the battle at La Vigna, felt done. Archive it, I decided. She's already lost the job, the affair's exposed, and the prenup's ironclad. No need to rub salt in the wound. Claire nodded, respecting my choice. "You're a bigger person than I am." "Or just tired," I admitted, running a hand through my hair. As I stood to leave, my phone buzzed. A text from Olivia. "We need to talk. Please, Ethan." I screwed up. "Can we fix this?" I stared at the screen for a long moment before typing back. "There's nothing left to fix. Good luck with Jason." The dots flickered as she typed, then stopped. Claire watched me pocket the phone. "Closure." "Something like that," I said, heading toward the door. But closure, I'd soon realize, was far from what Olivia had in mind. Because when a person loses everything, desperation breeds recklessness. And Olivia was about to get reckless. Let me know if you'd like me to continue with the next section. The office felt quieter than usual, the hum of printers and keyboards distant as I stepped out into the hallway. Claire's words lingered in my mind. Greed makes people sloppy. Olivia had been meticulous for so long, but when the endgame seemed within reach, she'd rushed. It was her undoing. I should have known it wasn't truly over. By the time I got home, the sun hung low, casting long shadows across the driveway. My house, no, my house alone now, stood still and quiet. Olivia's clothes were gone from the closet. Her vanity, once cluttered with skincare products and perfumes, sat bare except for a lone lipstick she'd overlooked. I thought I'd feel something, sadness, relief, regret. But all I felt was exhaustion. I had barely settled onto the couch when my phone buzzed again. Another message from Olivia. I'm serious, Ethan. We need to talk. You don't understand what's happening. I stared at the screen, thumb hovering over the delete button. But something about her phrasing gave me pause. What's happening? Before I could decide, the phone rang. Unknown number. Normally, I'd ignore it, but instinct kicked in, and I answered. Ethan Reynolds? A deep voice asked. Speaking. This is Detective Harris with the Financial Crimes Division. We'd like you to come down to the station tomorrow morning to discuss some flagged transactions connected to your accounts. I froze. Flagged transactions? What are you talking about? We'd prefer to discuss it in person, the detective replied, his tone carefully neutral. 9 a.m. sharp. It's better to clear these things up quickly. The line went dead. I sat there, phone still pressed to my ear, dread slowly pooling in my gut. What the hell had Olivia done? Sleep didn't come easily that night. I kept replaying the past few months, searching for gaps I'd missed. Olivia had access to our joint accounts, sure, but the prenup kept my personal assets protected. Or so I thought. By the time I walked into the precinct the next morning, my mind was buzzing with half-formed theories. Detective Harris, a middle-aged man with tired eyes and a no-nonsense demeanor, led me into a small interview room. He slid a folder across the table. These wire transfers. Over the past 3 months. Do you recognize them? I leaned in, my breath catching as I saw the amounts. $10,000 here, $25,000 there, slowly draining from an investment account I'd rarely touched. The destination? A private offshore account under the name Reynolds Holdings. My name. That's not me, I said firmly. Harris nodded, as if he expected that answer. We didn't think so. The account was set up using your credentials, but the IP traces back to an address registered to Jason Caldwell. That name ring a bell? Jason. Olivia's lover. I leaned back, running a hand down my face. So, they were siphoning money under my name? That's bold. Harris flipped another page, showing a bank form with a forged signature. My signature. They got greedy. If they'd stopped after a transfer or two, maybe it would have gone unnoticed. But someone tried to push through a $100,000 transfer last night. My heart sank. Last night? After Olivia's world fell apart. Exactly, Harris said grimly. It looks like whoever was behind this panicked when things went south. We've frozen the accounts, but you might want to keep an eye on any other assets they had access to. I stood, already dialing my financial advisor. Believe me, I will. As I walked out of the station, phone pressed to my ear, one thing became clear. Olivia hadn't just been planning to leave me. She'd been planning to ruin me. And when the affair blew up in her face, she'd tried to salvage the plan by draining everything she could. But she'd failed. Back home, I found the house exactly as I'd left it, except for one thing, a manila envelope taped to the front door. Ethan was scrawled across it in Olivia's handwriting. Against my better judgment, I tore it open. Inside was a single sheet of paper and a USB drive. The paper read, Ethan. I didn't know Jason was planning to clean you out. He told me it was just about us starting fresh. When everything fell apart, he got desperate. He's dangerous.
Please believe me.
This drive has everything, proof of what he did, the fake accounts, the emails.
I'm sorry.
I never meant for it to go this far. Olivia, I stood there on the porch, envelope in one hand, phone in the other. Was this genuine remorse? Or just another layer of manipulation? One thing was certain. Jason had crossed a line. And now, I had the power to destroy him. But first, I needed to decide what to do about Olivia. Would you like me to continue with the final section? I stood there on the porch, envelope in hand, Olivia's words swirling in my head. Asterisk, Jason's dangerous. I never meant for it to go this far. Asterisk, regret? Maybe. But regret only shows up when the house of cards collapses. She hadn't been sorry when she plotted to leave me. She hadn't been sorry when she watched Jason siphon money from my accounts. No, Olivia's apology was born out of fear. I stepped inside, dropped the envelope on the kitchen counter, and plugged the USB drive into my laptop. Folder after folder popped up. Bank statements, email threads, and most damning of all, video call recordings between Olivia and Jason. We'll clean him out, Liv. Jason's voice crackled through the speakers in one clip. He leaned back in a leather office chair, smug and confident. Asterisk. Once the last transfer clears, we're set. Ethan's too busy playing the nice guy to see it coming. Asterisk. My jaw tightened. Olivia's face appeared next, her brows furrowed. Asterisk. Are you sure this can't be traced back to us? If he finds out. Asterisk. Jason waved a hand. Asterisk, relax. He'll be too broke to fight it. And, if he tries, we'll be long gone. Asterisk. But they hadn't been long gone. They'd crumbled the moment the plan unraveled. I copied the files and emailed them to Detective Harris with a simple note. Here's everything you need. I expect Jason arrested by the end of the day. As for Olivia, I'll handle her myself. By the time evening rolled around, I'd received confirmation. Jason was in custody. Fraud, identity theft, and attempted grand larceny. He wouldn't see daylight for a long time. That left Olivia. I didn't have to wait long. A soft knock sounded at the door around 8 p.m. I opened it to find her standing there, eyes red and face pale. Ethan, she whispered. Did you get the drive? I did. I leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed. You didn't drop that off out of the goodness of your heart, Olivia. What do you really want? She swallowed hard. I need your help. Jason's been sending threats since this morning. He blames me for everything. If he gets out on bail. I cut her off. He's not getting out. I made sure of that. Her lips parted in surprise. You turned everything over? Of course I did. What did you expect? That I protect the man who tried to ruin me? Who you helped? Tears welled in her eyes, but they didn't move me. Ethan, please. I have nothing left. No job, no money, no place to go. I screwed up. I see that now. Just let me stay here until I can figure things out. I almost laughed. The audacity. Stay here? In the house you tried to screw me out of? I shook my head.
No, Olivia.
You made your choice when you sided with Jason. Now you can live with the consequences. Her face crumpled. Please, Ethan. I'll do anything. I leaned in, voice cold and clear. Anything? Here's what you'll do. You'll sign the divorce papers I'm sending over tomorrow. You'll walk away with nothing, just like you planned for me. And if you ever contact me again, I'll make sure everyone you know sees those video calls.
Got it.
Silence stretched between us. Finally, she nodded, defeat written across her face. I closed the door without another word. The next few weeks passed quietly. Olivia signed the papers without a fight. Jason remained behind bars. My accounts were restored, my life slowly returning to normal. One evening, Claire stopped by, a bottle of wine in hand. To freedom, she toasted, raising her glass. To peace, I countered, clinking mine against hers. As the sun set outside the window, painting the sky in shades of orange and gold, I realized something. Betrayal doesn't just break you. It clears the path for something better. And I was finally on that path. The end. Let me know if you'd like any revisions or expansions.